What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Busy Life Podcast. My name is Julie, and today we are going to be talking about the frustration of what it feels like when you feel like no one hears you. And I'm not talking like you have to repeat yourself. I'm talking like you said it clearly, they heard you, but they're not actually comprehending what you say. So I want to dive deep into this conversation because this is a big topic I had with my therapist actually last weekend. As you guys know, I fully believe in the power of talk therapy. It works wonders for me. I'm aware that not everything works for everybody, but for me, this has just been a lifesaver. I have anxiety. I have a whole episode on anxiety. I have an episode where Ryan and I dissect my anxiety together. I'm losing my voice today. We talk about what it's been like for him, what it's like for me, how we interpret it, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that I'm not the only one out there who struggles with anxiety. And something that causes my anxiety is when I feel like I'm talking and I feel like I'm talking to the wall and I feel like it doesn't matter what I say or how I say it. For some reason, my words aren't being heard. And I know that that is not something that only I have ever gone through. Specifically right now, because right now it is, oh my gosh, tomorrow's the first day of June. Whew. It's the last day of May, which means for us teachers, it's the end of the year. The students are not themselves. Mine are totally checked out. Teachers are checked out. We're all checked out. So, I could have explained how to do this two-step word problem totally perfectly. Anybody observing would have been like, damn, I get it. But no, it doesn't matter because they're all checked out. So they're not listening to me. But on top of it being the end of the year, my wedding is in 24 days. So I'm freaking out. I've got so many things going on in my head. I've got to make the tables and write the numbers on the cards and make sure that the cards come in time. But we're out of the cards. Now we have to order more cards. But is it easier if we just buy the table cards and pay somebody to print them and make them look nice? And Oh, the cake. Oh, we got to get a new. No, it's exhausting. So my anxiety is a little higher right now than it normally is. And when I met with my therapist, I have to fill out this monthly quiz that's like the same 12 questions every month. And we have to talk about how I responded to those questions at the beginning of each month or at the end, whenever it is that I take that quiz. And my numbers were higher. And she was like, "What's going on? Talk to me." And I said, "I feel like the root cause of a lot of my anxiety right now is I don't feel like I'm being heard. I feel like when I am doing everything that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing right, I'm responding in ways that I think I'm supposed to be. I am communicating in ways that I think I'm supposed to be. I am doing what I think I am supposed to be doing. And it's just not clicking. I'm getting the wrong responses back. People are freaking out. My students are checked out. It's just like the two big chapters of my life right now are just, we're not meshing. And it's because we're all stressed. Like I said, we're all done. We want a break. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, I'll be so much more relaxed when the wedding is over." Yes, but I'm also really trying to enjoy this process. I mean, this is my wedding, and I know it's not a big deal for everybody, and weddings aren't for everybody, but this is what I've always wanted. And the kind of wedding I'm having is your classic big fat Greek wedding. There's going to be a ton of people, a ton of food, and I'm very detail oriented. So every detail and every choice I've made for this wedding has been thoroughly thought out. I haven't just filled out a form and submitted it. I've thought about it. I've checked it twice. I've made sure that it's everything that Ryan and I have wanted and more. So when the little stressors come up, like disagreeing with people on things or things from work getting in the way, it's really not helpful. And I know that even if you've never planned a wedding or you've never been in a wedding or never had a wedding or you're not a teacher, I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you've probably got something in your life that has bothered you, something big coming up that, is stressing you out, or maybe you're just in a time of your life, just a time period of life that it doesn't matter what anybody does. It doesn't matter what you say, but everybody is stressed. You're kind of like a soda can. And when you shake the soda can too much, it's obviously already fizzy. So then when somebody goes to open up the soda can, you are going to explode because you haven't had time to calm yourself back down. That's how I've been feeling. So I had to think about some ways with my therapist to figure out not only how to communicate what I needed, but how to change the way that I communicate so that I am being heard. Maybe the problem isn't lying in with the words that I'm saying. Maybe it's how I'm doing it. It kind of reminded me of love languages, right? I don't know all the love languages off the top of my head, but I know some of them are like touch, gifts, words of affirmation. What is it? Like giving each other your time and energy. It's kind of like that. If I were to expect Ryan to give me the love that I want from him using my love language, I have to do the same and give him the love that he needs using his love language. Maybe for me, I really value time and I value the time that you spend with me and making sure that even if we just go for a walk, we don't have to spend any money. We don't have to go to a fancy restaurant. We don't have to do anything crazy. I just want to be with you. That's my love language. Maybe Ryan's is words of affirmation. He likes to hear when he's done his hair a little bit nicer or when he's wearing something a little bit more fancy and he's really put in the effort or he cleaned the dishes for me. He wants me to not only acknowledge it, but to let him know, hey, I saw you did those dishes and I really appreciated that. I came home pretty tired from work and seeing that you cleaned those dishes really made my day. That's his love language. And that's my love language. And yes, we both appreciate the other things. He likes spending time with me. I like words of affirmation as well. But the point is, you need to manipulate the way you communicate depending on the people that you're around. And that is how you will be heard. So that's just scratching the surface at this a little bit. And the way that my therapist best explained it to me was that you need to find a way to be clear and adjust your expectations. So, first of all, what is it that you're trying to convey? Be clear. Don't beat around the bush. Don't get your, I heard this phrase and I was dying the other day. Don't get your knickers in a pinch. What is it you're trying to say? And how can you say it honestly in as little words as possible? I need this. I want you to do this. Can you help me with this? There's no need to go on and on and on about this whole story. Oh, well, I was at work today and I was really tired because I dropped this and then this happened and then my coffee spilled and then I did this and then I did that. They've lost interest. I've lost interest. I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. What do you need from me and how can I help you? Now, again, this isn't, everyday conversations. I don't want you to be going around saying, Julie told me to talk like a robot. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you're in these kinds of situations and you don't feel like your words are working, change them. Be clear. So, for example, if I really needed my mom to help me with the table cards, I'm not going to go on the story about how I'm running out, I'm tired, I'm out of time. Today was a shitty day at work and this kid was an asshole and whatever. I'm just going to say, hey, mom, can you sit down and help me with the table cards? Or even just, hey, mom, can you help me with the cards? Little words. So there's only a little bit they needed to hear and a little bit that they needed to process. That way it's clear, concise, and that's it, to the point. The other thing is adjust. If you can tell that in that moment it's not a good time, even though you really need this thing, can it wait like 20 minutes? Do I need my mom to help me write the table numbers on all the cards right now? No, I can get it done. My wedding is in 24 more days. I have 24 more days to write these numbers on the cards. Adjust your expectations. Adjust what you're going to say. Don't get so upset because what you wanted might not be your outcome. Yes, of course, I want my mom to say, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, hand them to me. I can do them all for you. She's not. She's not going to say that. What she's probably going to do is also tell me that she's also stressed and that she had a rough day at work and that she's tired and that she has to work out and that she has to make dinner and that she doesn't want to think about the table cards. And right now is not a good time. But then maybe later in an hour, she'll then say to me, Hey, did you want to work on those table cards? Yes, yes, thanks. So adjust. And with this one, be flexible. You're not going to get exactly what you want every time you ask. There's a term that my therapist and I have been talking about a lot, and it really bothers me, being a bridezilla. Now, if you don't know what a bridezilla is, basically a bridezilla is a crazy bride who expects everybody to do everything for them when they ask and at the exact moment they need it to be done and do what they say and how they say it, and there cannot be any mistakes. I would like to think that I have not reached that level. Yes, I've hit some levels of crazy. Yes, there are some things that I have expectations for, and it's because I have this vision and I want them to come to life. But I would like to say I haven't reached Bridezilla level. However, thinking about that, I've definitely been called out for being a little bit crazy, having these high expectations, and oh my God, Julie, that's so stressful. Why? Find the humor. Find humor where you can. You can't change the way that people think about you. And for me, my wedding is very important. So if somebody's going to call me a bridezilla because I have high expectations, I have this vision, I need to bring it to life as best as I can. And I know deep down that I'm doing this with a full heart. Fuck them. Let them call me a bridezilla. You know what? I can call you a name too. Not that you should be doing that, but whatever. Mel Robbins just talked about in her most recent podcast episode, the let them theory. That's when you just let go of the control and you don't worry about whatever other people are doing or they're saying. That's what I had to do in that moment. I just said, whatever. They think I'm being that way. Let them. Oh, they're mad that I'm going to put them at this table instead of this table. Let them be mad. Whatever. Find the humor and let it go. I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. You think I'm a bridezilla? Ooh, I didn't think I'd ever reach that level. Take the pressure off. It's really not worth it. The other thing is keep the big picture in mind. What am I really trying to achieve by asking my mom to help me write the cards? And no, the answer is not getting all the cards written. It's completing my wedding. I'm trying to focus on one more piece of this puzzle, and then another piece of this puzzle we can focus on tomorrow. And then I have another piece of the puzzle and another piece of the puzzle. But the puzzle at the end of the day is going to look like Ryan and Julie's wedding. And the table cards are just a piece of the puzzle. So instead of getting super upset about the cards, and I'm just going to keep using that example so that way you guys understand what I'm trying to say, I'm going to let it go. Because again, I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to adjust my expectations. If my mom says to me, oh my God, Julie, you're being so demanding. I need you to just back off. Let it go. Let her be mad at me. Try to find some humor. Be like, ooh, Mom, you were very mad at me earlier. And just remember, the big picture is that I'm going to get married. I'm going to have a beautiful wedding. And it's okay if the table cards don't get done today. You know, when you step back for a minute, you see things from a bird's eye point of view. And when you do that, I don't know, it's like something about it just kind of calms you back down and you're like, oh, that doesn't really have to happen right now, does it? So with that comes my next step. Be patient. Be patient. Everything will get done that needs to get done. If you're someone like me, who is a type A, probably classifiable OCD person, highly detail oriented, also driven by anxiety and slight perfectionism, you probably have a list, right? You probably have if you're really like me, you've got a Google spreadsheet of the addresses, how much you've spent, how much you owe, the due dates that it's owed, the gifts that you've given or the gifts that you've received, the gifts that you're still either waiting on in your thank you list or in your registry, the thank you cards that you've written, oh my gosh, what else is on that list? The tables and the numbers and the allergies. It's all in a Google spreadsheet because all you have to do is click on that one Google spreadsheet and bam, there it is. So it'll get done, won't it? You'll look at that spreadsheet again. Just be patient. Maybe you even need to take a step back totally. And you need to just close the laptop and not look at the Google spreadsheet, not look at the table numbers, and just say, ugh, maybe not today. Maybe my cup is pretty empty. You know the analogy, you can't pour from an empty cup? Maybe that's you right now. Maybe they can't hear you and they can't meet your needs because you're not even meeting your needs right now. Isn't that kind of something to just let sit for a second? What can we do about it? There's the famous question. Well, I can take a step back. I can remember that we're all stressed. I can remember that it's going to get done. And I'm going to be patient. And I'm going to do something for Julie right now because this is something so small. And again, try to relate this to not a wedding. Maybe it's a project at work. It's the same expectations. Maybe this is just not the time to be working on it. Maybe I need to go maybe I need to go get dinner and go have fun, have a drink with my friends. Maybe it has something to do with your family. Maybe it's not even your event, but you're a part of it and you're trying to help somebody with it. Or you've got this application due, or you've got this presentation you're going to do. It doesn't matter what it is. These are all steps you can use no matter what the event is, whether it's for you, for somebody else. And these are all tools that you can use despite the situation. It also kind of reminded us of the oxygen mask theory. You know how when you get on a plane and they go through the whole safety procedures and they're like, yep, and then, if you need an oxygen mask, you'll drop down from the roof, put yours on before you put on others. It's kind of the same thing as the cup theory. You can't pour from an empty cup. And my therapist and I, we like to visualize. So with all of that, she was trying to get me to see this theme here. And the theme kind of boiled down to, I'm too worried about getting all these things done that I'm forgetting to just enjoy it. I'm not being heard because I'm not taking the steps to just relax. I'm putting too much pressure and time into making sure other people hear me. And how come you didn't do this? What are we going to do? How come you don't see this? What about this? What about that? What are you going to do about this? Let it go. Like Mel Robbins says, let them. Take it one step at a time. With your cup that you've now filled up, let's pretend that you did take that time. Let's pretend you're ready. It's a new day. The sun is out. You're like, oh my gosh, okay, great. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go get some sun. I'm going to come back, have something to eat, and then I'm going to tackle this stuff. Okay, well, now I'm ready. But what if everybody else hasn't done those things? You can't control them. You can't make somebody hear you do the things that you know are good for them. And I laugh at that because as a personal trainer, that is the biggest thing that makes me angry is when I tell them, it's like, again, it's like talking to the wall. It's like they can't hear me. I'm like, I think that you should incorporate walking. I'm tripping up on all my words today. I think you should incorporate some more water. I think you should do this. I think you should do that. I think you should do this. I can't make them. I can't. And there's that anxiety piece, the controlling piece where I want this to be perfect and I know that this works and I don't get why you're not hearing me. Or, hey, I know these table cards are only going to take 10 minutes. Why can't we just sit down and do it right now and make it happen in 10 minutes? Because I can't. Honestly, if I want to make the table cards done in 10 minutes, I'm just going to do them myself. And sometimes that's a good answer and sometimes that's not. If it's good, go ahead. If it is just going to take 10 minutes, yes, just knock them out. It'll make you feel better. But if it's something that you really wanted to do with your mom and, you guys have been planning this, or you and your friend have been planning this trip, don't just go without her because she's not ready yet. Because then that hurts even more. So, with that comes weigh out your options. Is it really worth it right now? And as you can see, a lot of these things are kind of in the same pot, right? With one comes another. And when you do one, the other part of it kind of happens naturally. And that's the whole point, you know? You need to gravitate towards what's best in that moment. What option is going to eliminate the stress for not only me, but for you too? Because I'm trying to take care of myself. And I know right now that you're stressed and I'm stressed and we're just all this big mess. And just like I feel like you can't hear me, I'm probably not hearing you. Maybe my mom, and I'm just using my mom as an example, is trying to explain to me something that is just so important, but I don't care because I'm worried about these table cards. That's when we know we have to let go. We need to stop, change the way we're communicating. We need to be clear. We need to take a break if we need to. We need to look at the bigger picture. We need to adjust our expectations. We need to do all of these things in order to make sure that we are communicating and hearing each other. And not only hearing each other, but fully comprehending what the other person needs. And I'm not saying every conversation needs to be a slow one like this. There's definitely going to be times where you and this other person that maybe you're thinking about for this event you're thinking about or this thing that you're thinking about are going to get at each other's throat. And that's okay. We are human. It happens. Don't shame yourself for it. It's okay. But if you can, take a breather and tell them, hey, you know what? I think right now is just not a good time. I'm definitely not mad at you for that, but I think we're just going to have to take a break. And how about we try again in about 15 more minutes? And their response might not be, oh, that sounds great. It might be like, fine, whatever. That's fine. Let them get mad. Let them. It's okay. And then you move on. Do something else. And honestly, move on for those 15 minutes. Don't come back. Oh my God, I've been waiting 15 minutes. Let it go. I notice a lot of this is connected to my anxiety. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a lot of the controlling pieces and the perfectionism of wanting this vision to come to life. And I kind of just have to trust that it will, you know, like my therapist said, be patient. Not everything has to happen exactly when we need it to happen. And if we can remove that aspect from the way we communicate, people will hear us. And they will get the things done that we are asking them to, just like we will get the things done that they are asking us to do. It's a two-way street. And going back to the cup analogy, you get to decide how much liquid you give out. Maybe, you know, like we said, it's a sunny day, you just went for a walk, you did your thing, and you're ready. You get to decide if in that moment they respond to you and they're like, no, I'm not ready. Oh my gosh, I have to go to the grocery store. I have to do this. I'm tired. I have to do that. Okay, back up. Don't give them any more liquid. Now go turn your cup and pour it into somebody else or pour it into something else. That's okay too. You get to decide where your energy goes. And during stressful times, it's definitely more important to focus on the less stressful events and people. With a wedding, of course, I'm not going to not focus on my mom. I need my mom. I need my whole family for all of this. But maybe, again, for those 15 minutes or for an hour, I can say, no problem. I know you're pretty stressed right now, so I'm just going to call you later. I'm not asking. I'm not, saying, hey, you're really stressing me out right now, and I'm getting more stressed right now. And I'm not going to argue with her either. I'm just going to let her be stressed because she has every right to be stressed. And I'm going to say, okay, Mom, I'm just going to call you in about like 15 more minutes. I'm going to go for a walk, but I'll call you then. Click, done. It's okay. Another pattern we noticed was that it all came down to boundaries too. What boundaries are you setting with yourself, and what boundaries are you setting with the others around you? Maybe even the ones who aren't involved in the situation. Geez, I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but weddings really bring out people's true colors. I'll tell you what, ever since Ryan and I got engaged, so many people, and I really mean it, so many people have started acting differently around us. And it's like, oh, all of a sudden they want to kiss our ass and they want to come to our wedding and they want to be invited and they want to go here and they want to sit with these people and they want to do this and they want to do that. And you're like, well, no. So decide where you're putting that energy because you don't have to give it to them. You can give it to somebody else. And honestly, I think just at the end of the day, maybe they needed a little bit more boundaries than you thought they would. And now you're learning new boundaries with them. And you need some boundaries, maybe even with your family. Hey, you know what? This is a perfect example, actually. I was doing some wedding stuff with my family. It was really late, and we went to my parents' house to go do some wedding stuff, but we kept going, and the clock was ticking. It was like 10 o'clock at this point. I like to be in bed by 10 o'clock because I like to start winding down by then so I can get a full night's sleep. And I was done. But people wanted to keep doing things. And they were like, oh, but don't forget this. Oh, can you write this down? Can you print this for me? Can you do this for me? You can say no. Just like they say no to you, you can say no to them. It's okay. Especially if it's emptying your cup. Your cup is totally empty and you have nothing left to give. Don't keep pushing. What are you doing? Say, no, thank you. Or another great way to use boundaries. And again, I'm on the topic of weddings just because, like I mentioned, mine is super, super close. And my anxiety is very high when it comes to this wedding right now, just because I care so much about it. You can say no to your friends too. There's going to be people whose feelings get hurt, and there's going to be people who are offended, and maybe not even about a wedding. Maybe you're trying to plan a party. Maybe you're doing a work project. Literally, whatever event or situation is happening, you can still set boundaries with these people. People are going to start to act different around you when new things happen in your life. Sometimes that's natural. It kind of just goes with the flow of life. And then other times, it's just kind of something you needed to see. Like think about a relationship. As relationships evolve, sometimes you get to know them more and their true colors come out. You don't have to stay with them. It's okay to also feel like if you're not being heard, let them go. You don't need it. If you're definitely not being heard, let it go. That's where I was trying to get at with that. If a relationship, a person, or something is no longer serving you and you don't feel heard, let it go. Just like we have to let people be mad at us sometimes. We have to let people be upset about things. We're allowed to be stressed about things just like other people are too. We're also allowed to say, you know what, this no longer serves me. That's fine too. So I'm going to stop there. I know a lot of everything I've said really all blends together, and that was the majority of my conversation with my therapist last week, but I just want to recap. If you feel like no one hears you, you feel like you're doing all the right things, you're trying everything that you can do in your power to please everybody, do what you need to do, but at the same time, nothing's working, here's what you need to do. You need to be clear about what you need. You need to adjust and be flexible. You need to find the humor in things because being so stressed all the time is just not worth it. You need to be patient, just like you want other people to be patient with you. You need to keep the big picture in mind. What is your goal? What are you working towards? And what is really important to get done right now? You need to find other ways to express yourself, like with a love language. If something works for so-and-so, change it to see if you can communicate to them that way. And just like things work for you, and you tell people, I'm a visual learner, I'm not an auditory learner. They're probably different from you, or if they're the same from you, it doesn't matter. You need to find a way to communicate with people in a way that works for them. And then you need to tend less to others and tend more to you. When people are having anxiety, they're taking care of themselves by letting all of it out on you. Find a way to refill your own cup, put your own oxygen mask on, and then you get to decide after that, am I going to pour a lot of this water back into you because I'm trying to help you, or maybe just a little bit, and then I'm going to go pour my water somewhere else? You also can say, I don't want to pour my water into you anymore because you don't hear me and you don't respect my boundaries. All of these things are okay. So maybe this was like a good therapy session for you too. I know it was for me. I always know that coming on here and communicating with you guys really, really does help. And I want you to stay tuned because I've got some special surprises coming up for you guys that I'm working on. I'm not ready to reveal them yet, but I've got a lot of things. I'm working so hard on this podcast. This podcast is like my baby to me. And you guys are the reason that it keeps going. The support that I've been getting back and the feedback, all of it is very, very important to me. I know in other episodes I've talked about how this has always been something I've wanted to do, and I still get very nervous doing it. That's why I stutter. That's why I trip over my words sometimes. But I care so damn much about this podcast, about you guys. And please keep it coming. Keep coming back for more. I promise we've got even more things coming in store. And in case no one else has told you today, I love you and I hope you have a great day.